sometimes people have what it takes, but they haven't recognized it yet. Just go forward. So what do you need to do? How do you stand out? So what you need to do is be that person that's different and is bigger than you think. Rise from the ashes and fly like the phoenixes that you are. Welcome. Happy day. Appreciate all of you guys being on. This is Andrew David. This is Blake Newbar's partner program, the High Performance Call. So on here, I come in. Some days we talk about marketing. We get into tech, and we get into Facebook, and we talk about content. And sometimes we talk about happy and cheerful stuff. And sometimes I get up on a soapbox and I just kind of rant for a little bit. And sometimes we talk about different ideas and different ways that we can develop ourselves. If you take as a whole the training that's here, I promise, even if it's just a nugget, just grab something from each of these calls. Step by step, you have an opportunity to improve yourself. And if I accomplish nothing else, that's one of my goals. I want to see each and every one of you have a successful business. I'm more concerned that each and every one of you have successful lives and that you become better in one way or another. And so at times what I do, and so I'm going to ask permission. I'm going to share a little bit, get a little personal, but I'm going to share it anyway, whether you guys want me to or not. So if you don't like anything personal, then feel free to, step away from your computer now, because that's how it's going to be. But look, we all have this time where we've got one life. Like, this is it, right? I feel like within this life, we've got a number of different opportunities. Some of the largest struggles you're ever going to face is when you haven't honed in on that clarity on what it is you're trying to achieve, when you haven't become fully self-aware and then you're transparent instead of authentic, right? Like Steve Sims likes to say, you got to be transparent to everybody out there, and understanding why the hell it is you do what you do, and you stand up and you get up each day and you go to work. But some of us are doing it and we're miserable doing it, and then we forget all these other things and we set aside our dreams. And one of the scariest things in life to me is regret. And whether you are in your 20s or 30s, or you're in your 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s, and some of you maybe even in your 80s, look, regret is one of the scariest things we have. And not just, you rarely wake up and you go, it's the whole, I wish I'd worked harder, but how did I want to live? What dream did I give up on? At what point did 30,000 a year or 40,000 a year or whatever it is, that guaranteed amount or whatever it was, when did I say, you know what, I'm okay with that and I'm going to give up on my dreams? Or when did whatever trial that you went through or that you were going through pushed you to a place where you said, I'm not going to do whatever it is? Now, some of you guys know, I've mentioned before, I went through divorce. There's been issues with my ex and kids and different things. And I've gone through depression and things throughout the years, have had therapy. I was recently, with everything going on, I'm in kind of a spot right now. So yes, next week's my birthday. Hallelujah. But guess what? The 24th was my old anniversary. The 24th is also the anniversary of my separation. The 23rd, I have a deposition with the attorneys. We're dealing with different stuff. It's just a fun week all the way around, right? Before we had this call, I was on the phone with my attorney talking about what to expect and how much fun this is going to be and how much of a fight we're going to have over the next couple of years and how many tens of thousands of dollars this is going to cost. And damn it, I don't care, whatever it is, some things need to be fixed. But last night, as all of this was going on, and I get to be on here all of the time talking about how important mental health is, how important it is for you to work on yourself and to be better. And I had one of those weekends, and then like a Monday, Tuesday, where I just went, you know what, like, I was frustrated. I was just not in a great place. And so yesterday I woke up and I went, I haven't had like a regular therapist in a long time. I've had coaches and things, but it's a little bit different. And so I signed up. You can find them now online, telehealth, telemed type stuff. I'm here in Florida. This is what I want. I found somebody. I got something booked. 8:00 at night, I'm on a Zoom call with the therapist, chatting about myself and my feelings and everything else. And I'll tell you, it's never comfortable. It was weird for me because I'm normally the one asking the questions. And as I'm answering his questions, I'm evaluating myself and I'm stopping halfway through whatever I'm saying. I'm going, well, what I should be thinking is, and this is how I should react. But sometimes you just need someone there that allows you to do that in a judgment-free zone, and recognizing why the hell it is you fight in the way that you do. And someone that's going to stand there and instead of judging, just allow you to talk and work through things and point out certain things that you may have missed, despite how often we look at ourselves and we look in the mirror, and I have you do self-awareness and emotional IQ and IQ stuff, and you're writing everything down. I don't care how many times you do that. Sometimes you need someone else to do it with you. And as you're doing that, recognize what I've talked about recently. I posted something in the Skype chat the other day that talked about being a warrior and recognizing what it is that you've already accomplished, what you've already done. The fact that you're still standing and you're still here means that you've overcome a lot, and you've got the capability of overcoming more, and you need to fight. And failure is going to be part of this journey, guys, but we need to quantify failure. I'm not talking about, failing to the point where your whole life blows up, but failure starts at a young age. We fall, we trip, we fall, we trip, we get up, and we keep going. And then you get a little bit older, and then maybe it's sports or it's music or something. And if it is music, then you're practicing over and over and over again until you figure out how to actually play. If it's sports, you're striking out more often than not before you actually hit the ball. You're missing tackles, or you're missing a block, right? You miss shots. That's part of life when we fail and we fail and we fail. I remember, one of my first entrepreneurial endeavors was I collected a lot of sports cards, baseball, basketball cards when they were, they're huge now, but this was, early 90s, late 80s. And I started collecting comics, and we would always, every weekend, we would end up and then during the summer, oftentimes all day during the week, there were 2 or 3 card shops in town that we would go down to, and we would either ride our bikes to them, or we would ride a skateboard. And I never really learned to ride a skateboard, so I would legit sit on my butt and paddle myself for 1.5 miles to the card shop, and then we would spend all day there. And we were kids, so for lunch we would go across the street to a Mexican restaurant that had fries and chips and salsa, and that's what we would have for lunch 2 or 3 times a week. And one reason that I overtip, I tip very, very well now. One reason that I overtip now is because I chipped the hell out of those servers back in the day, and I feel guilty about it, because we would get chips and salsa and a soda, and we would all eat that for lunch and then maybe leave them a little bit, but anyway, so cards, and I bought a lot of cards, and I got to the point where I said, you know what? I was there so much. The guy said, hey, instead of me buying your cards back from you, why don't you, rent the case from me, and you can sell your cards and comics from that case. And on the days that you're not here, if one of your cards sells, then I'll just put your money where you need it, And I said, well, that's great. So that was my first entrepreneurial endeavor. Is also my first realization that having a business partner without some kind of camera, some kind of verification of what the hell was going on was a bad idea, because the dude was selling my cards and pocketing the money. And I didn't really recognize that till later, because he'd pay me a little bit, but here I am, a teenager, and didn't have real proof until I had a buddy go in and do it. And he goes, no, man, nothing sold. So it was, it was an early failure. And then I had others, the cleaning and restoration company. I had a couple that didn't quite work out until the one that did. And then marketing, we had a marketing agency that blew up and went great, but then the merchant accounts decided to hold on to everything. So we had to start over. And then success, and then drop off, and then success, and then drop off. And maybe you find yourself at the point where you recognize that you're wired a little bit differently, and that doesn't stop you. It allows you to keep pushing. So I don't care how many times you got to push. If you know why you're doing it, then those little failures you can overcome. And I don't care where you're at in your life. There's got to be something that's there that's pushing you forward. And I don't want you guys to turn around in 5 or 10 years and go, damn it, I should have done this. I should have done just that little bit more. I should have gone for, like Michael talked about, gone for that walk this morning with his wife. That was you that posted that, right? In the Skype chat, Michael. Go for that walk once in a while, guys. Yes. Next weekend, not this weekend, next weekend, we're going down to Marco Island to take a couple of days and just put my toes in the water and ass in the sand, right? To just relax. Sometimes that's what you need to do, but it's also sometimes what you need to do is grind a little bit more, focus, just do that little bit extra, because it's not as much as you want to work on your mindset and that mental health is important. It has to follow action. And I was talking with a therapist last night. One of the things that we were talking about was regret and forgiveness and personal forgiveness, and looking at not just, maybe what caused the change, but some of the series of events that happen afterwards, because divorce is never good for anybody. I'm in a better place, she's in a better place, but as good as the kids may be in a spot, there's still, there's a lot of crap that they went through, and so there's regret there. So what do I need to do? I don't need to just have therapy myself. I don't need to just work on mindset myself. I've got to take some action. I've got to change. If financially you're in a spot, or your business is in a spot where you regret things that you haven't done, you can't just want there to be change. You can't just create the affirmations. You've got to follow it with actions. So if you want to wake up in a decade, or you want to wake up in 2 decades and not regret, then damn it, go to work. Work on yourself. Recognize that there is always in this universe a balance. There is the yin and yang. There is the mindset and skill set, and that you're capable of more than you can possibly imagine. Because if anybody in this life has done it, you can do it. If anybody has, and they have built this business, gotten themselves some time, generated, whether you're generating 20 a month or an extra 5, and you're just able to put some money in your pocket so that you can take an extra little vacation if you want, find a way to build what you need to live a better life, so that you can wake up at some point and you go, I wish some of those decisions weren't made, but damn it, I fought with everything I had to change it. And then you can stand up and you won't have that regret. And on that note, you can always rise up from the ashes, fly like the phoenixes that you are, and go out and have an amazing week and become amazing yourselves. So on that note, sometimes you guys people have what it takes, but they haven't recognized it yet. Just go forward. So what do you need to do? How do you stand out? So what you need to do is be that person that's different and is bigger than you think. Rise from the ashes and fly like the phoenixes that you are.